Wednesday.
Cheers, everybody, and welcome to episode 263 of the Michigan Bros Grow Show. We are your panelists slash hosts for Growly, Russ, and Emily, Terra Nation, and Nuttree 420. How you guys all doing tonight?
Awesome.
Good.
And one more to add, we got Red Center Farm of the house.
There we go.
Oh, you guys just went live?
Yep.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I could have been a few minutes earlier.
Maybe 2 seconds. Yeah. Otherwise, pretty dang perfect. Nothing like a fashionably late entrance.
How's everybody's weekend?
Ruben was barking up a storm, and Becca had to run him outside. There was no audio here.
Honestly, Tara, it's been a kind of exhausting weekend. It's sometimes you get to kind of rest and relax and just kind of hang out and get some things done around the house, but that was not this weekend.
It's holiday time. That's
Yeah.
not going to be. You're going to have 3 weeks of busy. I bet you.
Seems like it's been going since Thanksgiving, but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
always playing catch up. That was definitely a week of playing catch up. I feel like, although I feel like I got most of it done.
That's good.
That was me. The whole week was playing catch-ups because it was after getting back from being gone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Literally since Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we were gone since Thanksgiving, and then
Gosh.
Monday I had like 100 and some number of orders to fill, and
That's a
But I
good
did
thing.
catch up
And a
before the
bad
end of the
thing.
yeah, it took me the whole week, but I caught up. So pat myself on the back. So when people are ordering
That's good.
something, I can actually get it out to them within a day or two.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Tara Nuttree, what about you guys? How was your week?
Good. I worked part of it and then hung out and chilled out today, and I had a good, decent day. You went disc golfing yesterday with his brother and friend, and
How'd you do?
Yeah.
Any hole in ones?
No, just a birdie on the very first hole. Everybody thought, "Are you in the right division?"
but then he said he sucked the
Then
rest
the
of the
rest
time.
I sucked,
So
yes,
yep, he
so-
was in the right division.
made
Just
it
gotta
look
keep
good
everyone
at
on their
first.
toes, yeah.
So,
Well, I had some fun with some material from a friend of the show. We had Chuck
Chuck.
D. Snugs. Yeah, he had.
Yeah.
Was fortunate enough
Oh,
to
wow.
get invited over to check out his grow. I think more than once actually through this process. This was I guess 6 weeks ago. It looks like, but he did great. He grew some fire flower, and no, I'm not just saying that because you're in chat, Chuck. But he really did a great job on this
it looked
grow.
really good.
Yeah.
The ending product there looked really, really nice.
Yeah, he showed some of the flower that he dried up on, I think, his stories, and then we, I went over and kind of was like, "Hey, this is how I'd prefer it to be harvested." I've had issues in the past with some people, but I'm like looking at this flower. I'm like, we want to do this right, so we made sure we got it harvested right, and we turned it into some really fire live resin.
Yeah, it looks really good.
That looks delicious.
I definitely want to smoke it.
Fire and fire out though. Props
Yep.
to Chuck these nugs, man.
Hey, Beck.
It was some great work. Hey, there she is.
Hey.
Oh,
Welcome.
she's
Hey
muted.
guys.
There you go. Hey, how's
Hi.
it going?
Becca's on the right side this time, well, left side, right side, and she has the mouse this time, so
I'm
Uh-oh.
used to pushing the
I guess she doesn't know how to use the mouse.
Command D mutes and unmutes.
She takes control of the keyboard, and I take the mouse. Good duel.
That's
Got to
good.
get you a big push button over there or something we can hook up.
Is that the modern day Ratatouille?
Honk.
Yep, he's the mouse.
Better than an easy button.
That's what I was
like-
thinking, man. The Staples
I'd like
Easy
an
button.
easy button sometimes.
Yeah, for real. That's why I think we should hook up to the mics
Take it to a wire.
Certainly would like to have an easy button from time to time.
more often than not.
I don't know. I mean, I don't always want to take the easy way out, but sometimes, boy, it would be really nice.
Yeah, at least have the option. Yeah.
Yeah, like when your cup is so full and it's just running over. Yeah, right about there.
I feel that. Red and Becca, how was your guys' week?
Pretty eventful, man. It's nonstop over here. I've been laying a lot of vinyl flooring in this house, and
How's it coming along?
I stayed 3 days at the farm. It's I mean, the baby's room is done, so that's about
Nice.
as far as we needed to go right now.
Yeah, right.
This whole top floor, except our bedroom and the room we're in, is all done. So the kitchen, living room, dining room, hallway, into the baby's room.
Nice.
The room.
I
there's-
saw pictures and it looks like a whole different house. Honestly, it looks so good.
Yeah, I mean we're sitting on foam pads and like a subfloor in this room, but like it's like I put that like outdoor flooring, that outdoor carpet, that green flooring, the really cheap AstroTurf.
Yeah.
You get like a roll of that shit for like $10, like the really cheap AstroTurf. I put that stuff in these grow rooms for a floor way back when.
Like plastic grass.
Yeah, like plastic grass.
It's like reminds me of Florida. Like
Yeah, it's
people
like a
in
little
Florida have
like a
it.
little Florida room. I mean, literally, I made light hangers in this room that are like I put like lattice on top of the rails for like did like rafters for light hangers essentially, and put lattice on top of it, make it look like a little fucking nursery in this little grow. This is like my home grow room, you know what I mean? So I wanted it to like look as nice as possible. I painted all the trim in this room purple. I'd give you a tour, but it's our work room and it's a fucking disaster, honestly. Fucking jars and product and just shit everywhere. So but it was at one time
It's
a
just all been
bloom room.
condensed. It's just all been condensed. It'll be fine.
Becca and I were just having the conversation earlier about what the many cycles of what is now the baby's room has been, because it was like at one time my first bloom room. Now we were sitting in our master bedroom and it's got like a bathroom and stuff. And I'm like, man, I should have turned this room into my grow space. Like I was stupid to not turn this room into my grow space initially. I should just put a bed in this room because there's fucking water supply and all that shit. Duh, it's a bigger space. Had a walk-in closet that I already converted into a veg space. And the rooms that I'm in are kind of like at the front of the house, which is a little bit more accessible to like, the street and stuff
Bad
like
guys.
that. Yeah, like the thermal cameras and shit. Like back, 15 years ago when we're all growing, worried about thermal cameras. Some of you may still be worried about thermal cameras.
I was
There's
gonna say, now we got them in the sky, freaking
Yeah.
drones and stuff.
well, that's like the second hour topic there.
Yeah, it's late sesh style.
The D
Holy
word. You can't say the D word this week. But yeah, man, like blowing the exhaust out the house out the back of the house instead of the chimney. Blowing the exhaust out of the making it look like a dryer vent style and just like not wanting to be exposed. I'm like, man, the master's on the back of the house. That would have been so much easier. I could have just blown it out the back of out one wall instead of going through the garage and all this fucking. I overworked myself making a tiny little grow room when I could have used that room. But hey, you live and you learn, and some of you out there that are just starting your first grow space right now, it's not the last one you're going to build. That's for damn sure.
Use your master bedroom.
Yeah.
For one, just use your master bedroom. Use the biggest space you have to start.
Hey, use the living room and the dining room like we do.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I used my first grow space was, I guess, the master bedroom closet, because it was the biggest closet.
was
You know what I
mine.
mean?
It
It
was
fit
the
the tent,
closet.
and it was by a window and an outlet and everything. And then
With the closet.
it went from ducting out of a window to make it look like an air conditioner to eventually drilling holes through brick walls just to get ducted outside. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. Eventually you got to move that air.
My first grow space with a hazardous lamp, like a gymnasium lamp that a buddy of mine traded me for a couple clones off this really nice big plant that I had. He was like, "Oh, you got a big female? Can I get some clones?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's flowering or CFL. He's like, "Oh, dude, that's not gonna work." He's like, "Let me hook you up with a fucking giant magnetic ballast HPS that's like really janky wired because it was stolen from a gymnasium or whatever alleged story he told me, you know what I mean? Found in a gymnasium dumpster or some shit, with not a grow light bulb attached to it, you know what I mean? Like one of those, like, I don't know, street lamp bulbs attached to it.
Giant HID. Yeah.
And that sucker was hot in this attic that I had this thing growing in, man. And you could like see the light kind of coming out of like the shingles and this. It was like, whoa, man. And it got really hot. That was my first flowering
No
plant.
snow on your roof, huh?
None at all, dude. Just a wet, sloppy mess. Fucking yeah, dude. That was a fun one, man. That was a big plant. It took up a very large space. I like dried it out in cardboard boxes, and it was a fun thing. But like my first grow room after that I made my own like tent out of like I made like a wood framed structure. It wasn't very tall. It was like maybe 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide. Just call it a 9 cubic foot little grow box, and I like lined it with cardboard, and I like, you know, I think I painted it white on the inside, and I rigged up some, again, CFLs, just little curly bulbs. This was like 15, 20 years ago, you know, and like CFLs were like the most powerful thing you could put into an incandescent light socket at the time. And maybe I could run like shop lights, but they were hot, you know? So like, dude, that's how I ran vegetables and shit out of a little tiny fucking box, basically, with cardboard. I mean, talk about a fire hazard. I don't recommend that type of a grow space, but you know,
Right.
did what I worked basically to practice. This was between growing cannabis. I grew cannabis, then I grew vegetables, and then eventually moved out here where I grew some more cannabis. And I did that same thing for Girl. I had a walk-in closet in my master. I turned that into my first veg space. What is now the baby's room was my flowering room that was being worked on at the time, but I didn't have anywhere to exhaust, man. What I did is on the door to the closet, a regular old paper door, you know, I put a register, like, I don't know, what is it, like a 5 by 14 register vent up high and one down low, and I mounted a 6-inch fucking max fan to the fucking door with plumbed it all up with fucking HVAC ducting, and I had an intake and an exhaust just on the door, just ambient in, ambient out, just fucking into my fucking bedroom. So I'd sleep in bed with a fucking getting blasted with a max fan all fucking night. Not a filter, nothing hooked up to it.
Oh, staying warm.
Maybe I
Yeah.
had some. Well, it was like slightly. It was just a veg space. You know what I mean? I don't know if I might have had a HEPA filter hooked up to it. Might have had one on the intake, not on the exhaust.
Oh, your plants were the filter. You're fine.
Yeah. But I mean, I was getting blasted in the face all night with that. But that was long before Becca even moved in here.
It's probably why that girlfriend dumped you.
Oh yeah, probably why she took my coins and ran. And
Only a real one sticks around, ain't that right, Becca?
that's true. That's true. Yeah, Becca only moved in when I had the 10-inch max fan just rumbling the house.
yeah. You had to go to 10 inches, huh?
It was fucking 24/7. That one was attached to the wall in the baby's room. So that was all this year. I mean, we moved plants out of here a couple years ago, you know, and that's been
Since
like
we went like on our
it's
first
been a
vacation.
couple years. So like we've had the plants in the rooms been like just unoccupied in a workspace, but I've had it plumbed out, like all the HVAC, everything's been in these rooms. Like I had lights hanging in this room up until just, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, and just like inoperable. There was ballast on the wall up until a couple weeks ago, until we moved everything in here. Like everything's been in op. I don't use those ballasts anymore. Everything's on different systems, so everything's just been shut down. And it's just it's kind of wild to think of, like, holy shit, we totally revamped what was a old grow room, and it's amazing. You know, I had to like fix the subfloor because I had an exhaust going through the subfloor, and I had fucking intakes through the walls and all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to see it
Now it's a human grow room.
not to be a grow room. Yeah, dude, it feels good because we have our grow space. I've been wanting this to actually. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it. Maybe if I do something like this. Yeah, there you go. So that's the room now. If you're able to see that.
It was a grow room.
Yeah, that was a grow room with green fucking shag plastic carpet. If you're talking,
That floor looks great, guys. Holy smokes.
we were blessed, man. It was honestly, dude, it was a gift. Becca's mom fucking hooked us up with a gift of floor, you know, and like they priced it out, and it was like, we're gonna have to do this shit ourselves. So we've been fucking cranking it out. I've done like I don't want to say vinyl floor. I've done like these like I don't know laminate floorings. I
I've
guess
done
yeah.
tongue and
Yeah,
groove
yeah.
flooring
Tongue
before.
and groove, yeah, laminate. I've never like done nailing and wood flooring or anything like that, but that'd be a fun project, I'm sure, in the future to fuck
That'd
with.
be,
You
I
know?
would hate that. I would not want to do the nailing.
Yeah, that'd be a pain in the ass.
If this ever
I'm
comes
just like
out,
person that swings a
everybody
hammer, and,
fucking nails.
but
I want to do stonework, like a mosaic stonework for my
There you
entire
go.
kitchen.
oh
Permanent.
yeah,
Oh my god, I want to do it
That's
so bad.
sweet.
Lay it out piece by piece.
That would be cool.
I love all that. Yeah, that's something that I'd love for our forever home. It's really nice to have these nice new floors in here, but it's inevitably somebody else's floor. You know, will be the final. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Right? It sucks being an hour away from a shop and having to commute like that.
Put a
It'd be much
note.
easier.
Put a note under one of the floorboards and say we redid these floors in 2024. What's wrong with the way we remodeled?
It's not a bad idea.
And we'll
Well,
open it up.
I actually, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine somebody would rip up these floors and put down something else in like no time. You know what I mean? Like that's the funny thing about it. I did the floor in our bedroom immediately when I moved into this house, and that was like a laminate, and it just no longer fits the aesthetic. So eventually I have to run it into that room. But
It's really dark. It's like dark black, and every piece of Reuben hair, DOG hair, all the hairs
Yeah.
always show, and it's
my hairs.
like the bane of my existence. Yours is dark, and you don't see it in that room. But these new floors
Lot
are
of
like
them.
the same color as Reuben.
So in the right light, there's little Reuben dust balls everywhere.
So
Little,
you guys really got the flooring for Ruben ultimately.
dude, he loves it. He slides all over the fucking place, dude. He's got filthy feet.
He like stops just so he can
He
slide.
runs, stops, and slides across the fucking room, dude. It's quite comical, although you know, it's not the best for his development and growing in his legs and everything. I don't want him to hurt himself.
We've got some
So-
rugs on the way.
You gotta get some rugs and all
Yeah,
that
some
stuff,
get some
but-
runners and stuff. Yeah, I've been in. Well, careful with the runners and stuff because if they're not sticky on the bottom,
Basically,
you guys
I
might
was
be
having that
slipping.
conversation with my mom earlier. I was like, he's just gonna slide all over the place. We got to get that.
Well, we have a big one for the living room coming.
You know that like stuff you put in your toolbox. It's like a
Yeah.
roll. sticky-
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
I don't know.
Double-sided tape.
Yeah. The
Grippy.
only problem with that is if it sits in one spot for too long, it'll like stick permanently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't use the tape, but get like it's like just like a rubber, like it's adhesive on one side, but that's the side you attach to the rug. And,
Yeah,
you know, if
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
already have it, and then the
Has this
bottom side's
sticky-
got just like a grippy
Yeah.
poly
'Cause
rubber
rugs,
or whatever.
we have just like little mats and stuff all over the place, and they're just
Mhm.
they're all over the place. Like, in fact, it was kind of like a cartoon. He was like,
yeah, yeah,
threw the rug through the back of the hallway. You know what I mean?
yeah. Little Roadrunner style.
What the fuck? Yeah, dude. Like the roads curling up on them. Yeah.
I've been enjoying watching my chickens come up onto the deck, like when I'm chucking some food out, and they hop up and then they land and they just start sliding because of the ice. You know, it's whether it's icy or just wet, they cannot. Chicken feet on wet wood or icy anything is a recipe for
is,
disaster.
It's been really, really cold, and even though it was warm today, it's like the ground's frozen. So like all this
Mhm.
water that's happening right now, like it's
Mhm.
misting right now, dude. It is just like pooling up. Like we have a very like absorbent garden and yard, and it's just pooling with water like crazy.
I just drove an hour and there was quarter-mile visibility almost the entire way. And,
Yeah,
I mean,
Becca did the same.
it was
I know
awful.
my like hour drive took me like an hour and 45 minutes because I could only
Wow.
go like on the back roads. It was
Yeah.
30. I didn't want to go over like 35. I couldn't
Mhm.
see anything.
I do like to say when it's misty like this, wearing a headlamp, like I'd walk out and like just take care of the chickens and do some stuff and get the headlamp on. And it's like not really raining, but it's not really dry out. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of inside of a cloud. You just
Flowing,
see
yeah.
all of the water vapor just flying around. It's actually kind of fun. You know?
Yeah, and it's so like the micron size is so small that you think you're gonna be able to like do this and like collect water, but it doesn't.
No,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. You don't really get wet. It's just
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's just something you see. It looks like you're surrounded by little tiny water bugs.
It's like
you know,
vapor more than
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
water vapor. It's not really warm enough to like I don't know. And it's also not cold enough to freeze.
Apparently,
But-
the big man upstairs is now hitting the vape pen nowadays or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's gonna be even warmer tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like almost 50, like another 10 degrees warmer or something today or tomorrow.
Maybe the ground will thaw out enough to.
I was just put those stakes in, you know, those driveway stakes. I forgot to do that.
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of people around me do it like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh yeah, I probably should do that before ground freezes. And I'm like Brett said, I was walking out to the chicken coop this morning. I was like, shit, it's all
Yeah.
freaking frozen. The top 4
Hard.
inches is gonna. I'll be drilling some holes with my freaking.
I had a couple little trees that I
The wall.
stuck in the greenhouse. They were just in like plastic bags. They're like I was trying to pot them up. Never really got around to potting them up. And I looked at it sometime last week. It was one of the nights it was going to be cold, like 17, 18 degrees, less than 20. And those bags were like a brick, you know. So I took them in the garage, and almost immediately they were like back to being like a sponge, nice and pithy. But the perennials will do fine. The problem is the roots freeze too hard and heavy. They'll kill them, man. So we got a ton of perennials out there that didn't really make it into the greenhouse. I'm afraid they're not going to make it. But I guess I'm also trying to experiment. I really want to know what the resilience looks like on a lot of things. Like I just kind of let our lettuce garden succumb to the elements this year. I very much could have saved we could still have green and crispy lettuce even now, though it's 15 degrees. It's not 15 today, but it was 10 degrees the other day. Our lettuce was crispy if I would have covered it, maybe kept a layer of thermal protection on it. I let it succumb to the elements, but it was fine with 6 inches of snow. It was fine with the first wave of 20 degree, 15 degree weather, only until it got down into that like 8 to 10 degrees
Single
the other night
digits.
that finally
Yeah.
succumbed, you know. And
I'm really hoping that we got enough like top cover over some of the perennials because I brought over a really nice yucca plant, like a really well developed
cool.
yucca plant, and got that put in the ground. And then I also
So you're fine if you're in the ground, you know.
yeah, I'm hoping. And then I have canna
We had
lily.
enough warm weather that should have rooted enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. And it looked great. I mean, it had color and everything to it. So, and then I had canna lilies that I put in, that I brought over and broke up and spread out so that hopefully, that
cool.
root underneath the rhizome or whatever will spread. But last year, I've had them for 2 years now. And so the year before over winter, I just kept them indoor. I wintered them indoor in my veg. And this year I decided to plant them, and leave them just in the ground pretty deep and cover them more. So I'm really hoping that those come back because they were beautiful. I really liked them. And I was proud to have been able to grow them more than once.
Those are pretty cool plants.
It's an investment if you have a food or cannabis garden or anything like that to have perennials as botanicals and stuff like that that's going to bring in pollinators and help really manage your pest ecosystem, move pests away from certain plants. They might drop pests, but they're probably going to bank them. But I mean, anyways, like all of that stuff is like you grow one and you can perpetually grow those things because they propagate so well, so easily, and they you keep them in the ground. They don't really succumb to our permafrost that we have. And
Is nasturtium a perennial?
Nasturtium's like an annual, but it acts like a perennial because it self-seeds really easily.
Okay.
We had it die off and it didn't come back in the same space, but it came back. Babies came back in the area that we grew our nasturtium. So
Okay.
we get a lot of seeds that fall from it. A lot of times there's a lot of stuff that will behave like it, but it won't come back in the form of its own rhizome, right? Like not in the sense where like you could like dig up the roots and spread the roots and they would regrow. This would be more like the seeds are going to just self-propagate and grow.
You should have seen how I tried to spell that before I actually pulled this up. It was embarrassing.
It's an edible flower. It's medicinal. Nothing you're really gonna like catch an effect off of, but has some really
That
soothing,
one's wild. It tastes just like a radish. The leaf.
soothing
Green
effect.
leaf, it tastes
Really?
like you're eating a radish.
Culinary. It's a culinary
It
art.
looks almost like a ground cover type plant the way that's grown in that
It
picture.
vines.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
vines.
okay.
It does.
Girls and
It's hot in the micro. It's hot as a microgreen. It's hot as a flower for decoration, and also a flower for consumption and for teas and things like that.
So you had to know what
Antioxidant.
part you were supposed to eat. So
You can eat the
I
whole
grew
plant.
it. I looked it up and it said you could eat the whole plant. So I figured the part that would be like the tasty edible part would be the pretty flower. So I grew it and I saw I had a few flowers. So I tasted them and I'm like, it doesn't really taste like much, it's fine. And then he tried a leaf and he was like, oh, it tastes that. And I ate the leaf and it was radish. And I was like, what the hell? Like that.
Yeah, they got a spice. Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, so many botanicals have a nice spicy flavor.
What terp is that? I think we've talked about this, but
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
maybe not a terp, but
What would it be? Something in like the horseradish, or like the wasabi. Wasabi is a radish. It's coming off of like a daikon or something like that. You also get that nose heat from what was I experiencing that from? Well, you definitely get it from like mustard. I mean, but then you're also in the same family. So I mean, if you're talking just a brassica, I don't think nasturtium is in the brassica family though. So it's odd that it has that. But I mean,
I did not
it's
expect.
not odd that it has it. It's interesting that it has that.
wasabi's spiciness is from allyl isothiocyanate. Cyanate. It's found in mustard, radish, horseradish, and wasabi.
I wouldn't imagine those are terpenes. I would imagine those are some kind of a
Well, if you look at black
uh,
black pepper is piperine. That sounds like a terpene, but then chili pepper is capsaicin, obviously. Onions, allicin, gingerol and ginger, and hydroxy alpha sansol. And that's the Szechuan peppercorns. How do you say that word?
What is it?
Szechuan.
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 There you go.
Szechuan.
It's not just Latin that I'm not good at, guys.
Well, what you got is like, if you were to like look at it as like a word bubble, the
Mhm.
center of the word bubble would be flavonoids. Flavonoids would just be the center of the word bubble, and then off of that you would have like things like terpenes would be one, and then another one would be esters, another one would be sulfur compounds, another one would be who knows how many other compounds we haven't even figured out what cause smells and flavors and things like that. And all of them do different things to our body, not necessarily cause a effect. I mean, with aromatherapy, like they've kind of dialed down. Aromatherapy is dialed down like the terpene world pretty well. Like aromatherapy went into the terpene world, I don't know how many decades ago, and they were like, limonene does this to the body, and I think that from anecdotal, just listening to stuff, what I gather is that a lot of the cannabis derived information that you get out of the cannabis industry, a lot of the expertise comes through that aromatherapy. There's books out there decades old about, long before cannabis was researched with it, or at least we even found out that cannabis have these terpenes in it, was that, limonene has this, and peppercorn has this, and lavender has linalool. And I mean, they didn't learn that linalool exists because of cannabis. We learned that cannabis has linalool in it because linalool was already studied and researched. So, we have all of these aromatherapeutic flavonoids, which are in that terpene category. But then you have like flavonoids and things like capsaicin, for example, that actually like helps detoxify the body. It's not just like something that adds a relaxing effect, or its medicinal effect is actually a cleansing. It's actually anti-inflammatory, medicinally, and other things like that. So I would imagine that a lot of these other alcohol compounds or sulfur compounds or whatever is the compound bracket bubble that capsaicin is in. I'm not sure what that even. I'm sure there's probably 3 or 10 more brackets that are in that flavonoid thing that we're not listing, that might be in other botanicals. What I'm getting at is that it's kind of like aromatherapy, and even tea and soup. Soup is also another. I mean, all of that is essentially natural medicine. All of that. That's just basically your basic natural immune boosting metabolites and substances and alkaloids and things like that, and it's all good and healthy for you. And so, well, obviously some of them could be toxic and bad for you, so you have to do that's what those books for. What's that book that we have about terpenes? The Terpenes for Well-Being, I think, is one. Is a book that we have about terpenes specifically. I wish I had a book on like alcohol compounds or other compounds.
Can you explain how maybe that book relates to colognes and perfumes? Because is that more of a pheromone type thing, or are we just trying to cover up bad smells, or how does that all relate? Because that's been on my mind today about
the book Terpenes for Well-Being is more of a medicinal outlook on terpenes and the way that they interact with your body, such as
I feel like those two are probably more social aspects.
Yeah, and it talks about there's a little bit of a cannabis crossover in that book. That's why I bring up that book. But I am very interested. I mean, I think that goes both ways in that aroma industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you do have smells and pheromones. Your pheromones are a totally different thing too, because now you're talking about almost like biological triggers.
Well, but that hold on, because I would say that terpenes, or at least citrusy haze variety terpenes, for me,
those
have
are
a biological.
Yeah, those are as well, right? Yeah, so
I mean, even more so than ladies' perfume, if I'm honest with you. I'd much rather you smell like a lime skunk. Well, maybe not lime skunk. That's kind of a BO type one, but
in essence, I mean, those are what's coming out of us. I mean, we're probably perspirating
more of the lime skunk
alcohol. We're probably perspirating alcohols and some other things like that. Oh, it was very interesting. I was watching Cheap Home Grow. Shout out Cheap Home Grow. Spartan is on Cheap Home Grow, and Jack Greenstock and those guys are having a conversation, and they're briefly talking about some flavonoid. Jack Greenstock's Instagram story has a nice rundown about the pineapple terpene and how it's actually in this category of all of these different flavonoids. I think they were in the alcohol flavonoid spectrum.
Like an ester, I believe.
An ester, which, by the way, has a lot of compounds. A lot of cannabis-derived compounds are in, or should I say, a lot of alcohol-derived compounds are in cannabis. I'm just gonna, I don't know, feed the fire here a little bit and just say that alcohol's solvent, right? If I'm not mistaken, and I don't know, just semantic lingo and things like that gets a little confusing when you put so much emphasis on words like solventless and things like that, when maybe not emphasis is the bad term. Maybe I should say when you put so much like I don't know, division and chastising over fucking anybody's personal preference for how they get their flavonoids, right? for how they derive their flavonoids when you say no, it must only be done a certain way, and you get the plant itself contains all of these biological compounds, and it's very difficult to even keep things like heavy metals and things like that out of the plant. So let's all just get along in the industry and learn that, semantically the plant itself has all kinds of compounds in it, and we're never going to be free of so like chemicals, you know what I mean? Because everything is chemicals. It's just how we consume.
Are you saying plant derived, like cannabis derived terpenes and
cannabis derived alcohol, like, yeah. And then I mean, once the plant cures, it breaks down into things like hexane, and it breaks down into things like all of these substances that we're trying to stay away from. It's dogmatic to pretend like we can avoid them when the plant metabolites break down into them. So, let's all just get along in the industry. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's why acetone kept showing up on our lab results. It's like, I'm not using acetone in anything I'm doing over here, but it's a natural digestive byproduct of just about anything that's biological. So guess what? Humans do it, plants do it, and you're going to get it when you extract it and concentrate it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think
exactly.
huge stuff what Tara's showing off right now. I think that's huge stuff for cannabis right now.
Yeah,
what you got there? When is that?
I
Featured on
found
National
this at the
Geographic.
store. National Geographic actually put out a really nice. I mean, the next page is just phenomenal.
Mhm.
A really
Oh, look
all
at that.
around nice. I mean,
Can you hold
every
that up
page is
again? That
something
first
different.
page?
First page.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I'm all about this. Yes, this is coming with me.
Well, let's get
I got
lucky
the
up
very last one
photographer.
too.
Is
So
there
I have
a
a lot of good
photograph
stuff to
by
read
on that
about in
image?
here. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Was there a photograph to buy on that image? Who can we
Credit.
give
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
credit to that image for?
It's
Hold on,
Hold on,
you
you
right
better.
there.
I can't. The writing's too small, so I want to let Troy look.
Okay, not a problem.
Oh, yeah, we got too many old people in
Just
this.
National Geographic, Washington
Becca?
D.C.
We're on the next page should tell us.
Honestly, one of like an old goal of mine. I don't know. It's still an aspiration, of course, is to just get an image into National Geographic. Shout out to whoever can get images into
Yeah.
National Geographic. It's a great feat
Yeah, I'm not
for
sure
any
who it
photographer.
is.
Yeah.
But-
That's funny that you say that, Red. Totally tangential, but I know someone that recently got a drone photo of a whale in, and it was
That's
like
super cool.
he's like riding that fucking wave 2
Yeah, it's
months
super
later
cool.
still, like
Yeah, I mean,
I would be
I
too.
don't-
That's
I don't
phenomenal.
think you get anything out of it except your name in the book, but you know what I mean. It's a feat for a lot of
yeah, to be
photographers.
published like that. Yeah, I mean that's huge.
Yeah, this has
It
got
is-
a lot of good stuff. I mean, this is covering the history, tissue culturings in here, the medicinal aspects for, children and seizures and, whatever problems, other children might have,
That's
adults
great.
and
That's really
Parkinson's,
great.
cancer. It's broken down really nice. Actually, I liked this page. This gives you a little, I'll put this one up there. Gives you a little bit of everything of possibly
Cool.
what you
Oh,
might
wow, look
find
at
right
that.
now. You know?
That's cool.
That is kind of
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad they put. I mean, I'm not glad they put a pill in there, but it does exist, right? But I'm glad they didn't put
does.
like the syringe style in there because that is the most
Look at
terrifying.
that.
And I
That
get it.
wouldn't have-
There's 2 people on this panel out of the whatever 7 of us here that make the RSO syringes, but that is like the one thing where I'm just like, someone is gonna take this the wrong way and think it's like
Yep.
black tar heroin and whatever,
Is that Daniel Rybar by chance? Are those images Daniel Rybar? The one
Let me
of
go
all
back
the
to it.
concentrates?
1 second. Can
It
you see it?
looks like something he works on. Some of his work.
I don't know, Brad.
It
I'm
may not
sorry.
be. It
My
might-
eyes are
it
so
could
bad.
be
It's so
It's
little.
not like none of these pictures are saying
It's
that.
Not
the-
giving anybody credit.
Oh, it's not.
probably
Okay.
all on the
All right.
back
All
or
right.
something.
Yeah, it might all be on a single page.
Yeah, I'll try to find that and.
No biggie, Tara. Honestly,
Yeah.
just curious. Looks like
Oh,
somebody
here's the
I
back.
work that my buddy uses on his. Who I used to use when they use a
I'll
certain.
try to find. I did just find the illustration credits on the back, so let me see who I can find here.
That's cool. The
Yeah. Boy, I need a magnifying glass. I was blind.
the online version of Nat Geo is heavily paywalled as of recently. Maybe as of a long time ago. I don't know, but there's a lot of articles you can't even access online anymore. So it's what is the cost of their actual physical magazine, Tara? What's the cost of Nat Geo today?
It was $14.99.
Is it okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I was
It's
thinking
probably not.
$12.99.
It's
That's
not as
totally fine.
thick
I remember
as
paying a whole
normally.
year, 15
Their
bucks.
their normal ones are. It's not as thick, but it is a little longer. It's not the short version. I don't know. I had no trouble spending the $14.99. Every now and again, I will buy a magazine of some sorts, and this was one that caught my eye because it was National Geographic. I wanted to see
The
what they
amount
had to
of
say.
shit that I spend $14.99 on that I should not be, that is well worth it.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what they had to say. You know, it was
Work issue
at
too.
Walmart, so I wanted to say I was, right there. I
Yeah,
was
when you
checking it
pulled
out.
that up, the first thing I said was I want to get that and frame it.
And I got
Yeah,
it in
I'm
Ohio too, so I was happy to see.
I'm one of those
you know.
like hoarders of like random
You?
things, and I have like a little stash of like random. Well, I had a big stack of High Times. I gave a whole bunch of them to Natalie. She does all of the
Oh yeah, she does her little
photo work
collages.
and stuff like that. She does a lot of clip art and what not clip art. It's like collage art. Yeah, she does really cool collage art. I gave her a whole bunch of High Times for it. The couple of them that I have, like a 40th
wait,
anniversary
Natalie?
issue. Yeah, Natalie. Yeah, dude. We have a bunch of her art like on our walls. And, we have a beautiful piece of. Oh, I should actually show it considering the day. That's very cool.
Yeah, this was the last piece that I got from her.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, Natalie does some awesome artwork.
Okay, so I finally
Yeah,
found the
the
names
DOG.
to shout out for the pictures that we were showing off. The first one is a Rebecca Hale, and
Hey,
then an
Rebecca Hale.
Antonio Romero.
Antonio Romero, did that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
shout out to those
in those shots.
cannabis photographers out there.
Pictures.
Shout out to Natalie who did this. Oh, I gotta do this. There we go.
Oh,
Oh
sick.
gosh, Natalie does some amazing things.
You gotta show my
It's
face.
not gonna work.
I
There you
gave
go.
my
There you go.
daughter-in-law the
Really cute.
most beautiful thing. It was when she did her
This is-
like needlework.
That's
and
what this
she does
is.
amazing stuff.
I don't know
Oh,
if you can
it's
see it. This
It's the OG.
stitched. It's actually stitching.
Wow.
It's so
It's
amazing.
thread. It's threaded in
But
there.
it's on
So
paper, right? It's like a
it's,
really
it's
thick
thread
paper.
on paper, right? Thread on paper. Thread on blotter art.
Do
Thread
you
on
remember how long
blotter
she said it
paper.
took her to do that one? Because I know the one that I got was like over 80
I don't know
hours.
if you can. Yeah.
I don't know how to make
Maybe a jar of weed will work. No, it can't. It's green, of course. Nothing green will work. I'm not wearing green. I'm wearing blue.
say what.
Okay. Anyways,
Green screen.
today, December 15th, a year ago, today marks the day that we actually had to put DOG to rest. And so December 15th last year was a difficult day. We had the Third Eye Craft Affair on the 16th. So we actually had to prep all night and it kept us busy, but it was, probably one of the more difficult things I've had to experience. And, the duality takes and it gives. And so, we went down to just Becca and I, and now we're blessed to have from 2 beating hearts in this house to 4 beating hearts in this house. So, we were upset for a short period of time. And, I always think that all of the stars come into alignment and all kinds of certain reasons. So, we're blessed. The duality of life and death. The winter is the time of season to remind ourselves of that. Of course, in the northern hemisphere, not northern hemisphere, but in the north, by where we are here in Michigan, we experience it, especially with these freezes. So December 15th is DOG's day for us in this household. So we shined a light for him. And everybody else out there is petting their pup. And shout out to everybody who has a special companionship in their life like that. So shout out to Natalie for all the awesome artwork. And of course, shout out to Mama Red and Daddy Red for helping out with DOG over the years so that we could go on vacations and attend events and things like that. And of course, one of those hearts beating now is little Ruben, who's big Ruben, and
He's so
he gets to come along.
big.
So he's huge.
Oh,
He
my
is huge.
He's freaking huge.
He's freaking huge.
He's not as big
He's
as
filling
Emily's
out-
dog, though. Emily's dog is really big.
Yeah, she's
You
a
know,
big
you got a big dog.
girl. That's a horse.
Yeah, horse.
When she was
But-
sitting next to Baked, her head was at his his shoulder was like right with her, and I was just like, this is nuts.
No, she
He's
gives me
like
full body
6 foot
hugs.
something.
Yeah, she gives me full body hugs. I can ask her for a hug and she'll put her paws
I
up
bet.
and her head down, and I can just hold her like this head to head with her.
Oh
And your
man.
girl ain't short, so
Definitely a big girl.
yeah, I love her so much. Oh my
Very
gosh.
sweet too.
She
How
is.
old?
She is 4.5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's a good age.
she's
She's still a puppy, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this-
a good age.
doesn't
We're like
realize-
old
She has no
enough, but
idea how
young
big she
enough.
Yeah, she thinks she's a chihuahua, but she is huge.
She doesn't know.
No,
We're like starting
acts
to
like
mature
it.
finally.
Maybe that's how a giraffe
Goblin
feels.
will like bark and like try to go at her, and Endo will like run and tuck behind me. She doesn't even understand. Like, you could just step on her. Is Ruben though? Is he just like tall and lean, or is he actually thickening up more like a golden?
He's pretty tall and lean. He's still a pretty clumsy, thin. He's super like fluffy. So he's got this like really thin coat everywhere except where he has like a mane. So he has like
Really thick
It's
around the head and his
really
neck.
thick around his neck and head and really thick on his chest. And
What
like
about his rear by his tail, like the back?
that's kind of thin actually. It's
Okay.
kind of his tail is pretty thick itself, but like his like butt hair he has a skirt that hangs off his butt. So when he runs, he has this like wavy, like he's all
Excuse me, it's a kilt. Are we serious? He's an Irish setter. You just called it a
that's a
skirt.
Scottish setter.
Yeah, close
I'm
enough.
Scottish.
Don't hate me, guys.
He's
I'm
in the
like
background going, "Whoa, Dad!
40%.
I don't have any."
No, he don't like the Scottish. No, he doesn't.
He's
The
a
Scottish side comes out of me sometimes.
hairy boy, and his arm hair
Can't
is,
mix
like,
orange and green.
he's got wings.
Sorry.
super long, and he's got burrs like crazy.
Oh,
He
yeah,
won't let-
oh,
and
that's
he's got a
nice.
dread behind his ear. He won't let us
Nice.
get it out.
Yeah, I gotta get the
Really?
dread off. Dread's gotta get
I
cut
just-
off.
I just
You're like,
recently
"Oh,
found
you're-
this shirt.
I love that shirt.
Yeah, I found
Very
it.
nice shirt, Nutri.
Like,
Yeah, he's been like asking me
Like, where's my
repeatedly, "Have you
shirt?"
seen my shirt? Have you seen my shirt?" And I was like,
I
maybe
cleaned
if
out-
you fold some clothes,
I cleaned the
in
closet.
this area, you might find that shirt. Maybe.
But it was just probably
But I think it was just in like the summer pile kind of thing, and you know how that stuff gets set to the side. And
Oh yeah.
A change of season, so I think that's just what happened.
Still looking for my
Or it's the
sweatpants for this
typical
year.
male thing where I can't find anything.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I was missing half of my shirts, and I realized, oh, they're hung up in the closet. I'd been folding all of my like t-shirts and
gosh.
putting them in the drawer, and so I didn't realize I started hanging them. So for like 3 weeks, I'm like, I just don't know where half my clothes are. But I bought some new clothes. We're good.
I have like 4 things that fit me, and one set of them was at the farm, and I haven't been there in a little bit. And I was like looking all over the house, and he comes home one day like, "Oh, look, I brought some clothes home for you."
Oh man.
Been looking for like 2 months.
You're like, oh,
Like she can finally fit into her pregnancy clothes, and she didn't have her pregnancy clothes.
That's all that fits me.
Just
Everything
gotta
else,
start wearing his shirts.
everything is a crop top. It's
It's a crop top. Yeah,
cute.
that'll happen.
Super cute.
I've been spending some days out at the farm and at the shop, man.
How's it going out there?
It's going good. Plants are big. I had to get a harvest taken down. I had to get clones taken. I had to get plants moved from early veg to up pot them into late veg. I had to prune back and clean up all of the mothers that I did not take clones off of. And I also had to cull some mothers that our Fido hunt is nearing the end. So we're finally seeing what we can get rid of and what we should keep. So I got rid of some one of the two Durban Margies. Actually, this is one of the Durban. Can you see it? It's green. One of the Durban Margies in front of me. It's got a really nice like lime smell. It's got a nice spice to it, and we have another phenotype that just has a little bit more spice to it. I like the lime, but we have the lime kind of covered up in a lot of. Which direction is this camera? Can you see it? Maybe.
I see.
Nope. There's a
Yeah, hold it real close to your face, I think.
to the
There you
forehead.
go. Yeah, there you go.
Ah. Anyways,
Now it's a pine tree.
oh yeah, that's it right there. There it is.
Growing trees.
Massive thing. Look at this.
It's funny. Anyway, yeah, a little lime to it, a little pine. I think the pine has in a little pepper, maybe. The one's got a little bit more like pine and pepper, subtle on the lime. So I like the lime, but like I said, we got a lot of
Like beta caryophyllene pepper, like a peppercorn.
yeah, a little like ever so slightly enough to give it like this little bit of a spice. Now this rose gold, I'd show you, but it's going to do the same thing this is doing. The rose gold is okay. This is Durban Poison and Frozen Margie. Frozen Margie is a plethora of stuff, which includes like I think Chemdog and some lemon lime stuff and some other things. And okay, that is Durban Margie. The rose gold is Pineapple Express and Moonbow 75. That's Archive Genetics. And that one actually, after it's cured, and I actually got rid of, I had 4 phenotypes. I kept the phenotype that was the most like fruity-ish, had the best bag appeal, the most frost, would wash the best. And I also kind of had my eye on one that was almost the opposite of it. It was a much shorter green plant, less bag appeal, much more greasy, funky, skunky. And I really liked that one. But as it cured up, I was like, meh, it's not the moonbow that I'm looking for. Maybe
Right.
Rainbow Belts has that moonbow that I'm looking for. So I kind of was like, I think I'll find what I'm looking for in the Rainbow Belts because it has a little bit more of a sweet spice, sweet skunk, where this had a little bit more of a peppery skunk. And then actually after it cured for about a month, I opened that jar up and I got blasted in the face with just straight peppercorn, dude. I mean,
Really?
peppercorn. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, I got rid of that one. And when I was going through my cloner to call a bunch of old clones, like old clones, like that are like officially DWC big rooted.
The
things,
team.
I already want to put in. So I was just calling a bunch of stuff. I had one that actually wasn't bad. It wasn't woody. It was a really nice clone of the number 4. So I was able to keep it, even though it was one that I was going to keep. And then I was on the fence and I did call. I had one backed up. So I held on to it. So we'll see.
Kept another one.
So I kept another one. I got rid of a couple and kept one that I was going to get rid of. I kept one that I ended up getting rid of like a month ago. I ended up finding and keeping it. So the selection process is all over the place when you don't really have an idea of what to select for, right? Because it could just be for us, but it's based on this. It's based on this fluctuating market. That's not a bulk market. You know, we're not in a bulk sale market. We're in an individual taste market, and everybody has individual tastes is the crazy thing about it. So what we don't like, some people really like. And what we're finding is really, really nice and we like and would really be hot and would work the best for bulk and all that other stuff. Nobody wants.
You got to grow for yourselves, man. It's one of those things where like I think you'll start
This is my
treating
proud
plants.
moment. This is what I'm proud of for Grilly when he says shit like this.
I think you'll start treating plants differently if you, start growing them for other people to the point where like you could potentially resent them, not the people, but the plants, just because they're not treating you as they're harder to trim than the other ones that you like.
Well, that's the problem. The ones that I like, the ones that I really like, I can't afford to keep, right? Because
Yeah.
if I only
I
grow
understand.
that, I don't sell it. It doesn't pay the bills. So
Well,
that ultimately becomes the issue.
You did say something that got me thinking, though. You said, one of the phenos you cut out or chopped was because it didn't like cure up right or whatever. That makes me wonder, similar to like growing for hash, like we've talked about, and like how maybe things start getting bred for solventless rosin or something like that, right? And that
Right.
could kind of tilt the whole market in a certain direction in terms of what strains we have available to us.
Yeah.
If you decided to cut a strain out of your garden or a phenotype out of your garden because you didn't like the way it cured up, but you liked it while it was still growing, maybe we've lost the potential for the really capturing the essence of that plant just because we didn't take it for fresh frozen, right? Maybe not everything needs to be cured up to, and I understand that we want to take things to flower, but like it just makes me wonder how many things have been cut out or strains that have been lost because they've ultimately been bred for flower, whereas I'm just sitting over here in my corner with fresh frozen. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But I also like to think of the fact that curing ends up creating different cannabinoids, right?
Definitely.
Curing creates the presence of CBN. Curing ends up when you cure hash, it ends up creating the presence of hashine or whatever that other terpene that you don't even get in cured flower ends up becoming.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is merit to curing, but I think that all ends up being form and function.
Marketability. There's marketability in something that sets you apart from everybody else. If you can say my product is cured and has hashine, where you're not going to find that in any other product. That's
yeah. It's all the functionality of it. Does it fit that function? But yeah, for Gurley, I absolutely agree with what you're saying, and I also think that a lot of stuff that would make great flour has been kicked and tossed because it didn't wash. You know what I mean?
Right.
It didn't drop enough trichomes,
Goes both
and it
ways.
got kicked.
Yeah. Shit, we wouldn't have lime, skunk, or clementine if it didn't, if all we cared about was washing. All those greasy strains have been kicked out fucking years ago.
Yeah. Once you start turning the metrics into commercial metrics, that's when you start really getting rid of things. Like you said, you have to grow what you like.
That being said, the tech has also, to an extent, caught up to the point where like that's a little less of a concern than it has been.
Seems like now that there's an answer for that. Okay, if it's greasy,
it's been addressed, right?
Yeah. If it's not, then I'm gonna go try to wash it. If it doesn't wash, I'm gonna go do away with it.
I also believe in the phenotypical variability, where if I don't like something, I grow another seed and I'm hunting out the outlier that I am looking for, right? Or I'm hunting out that extra potent one, like growing 7 different rainbow belts, and they're all incredibly similar. But there's a few of them where I'm like, meh, based on not just flavor and smell, but based on like the structure of the plant, the way it's growing.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. Is that's the one I pick. I the one that stands out. Like you said, if I grow a pack and they're all the same, but there's 2 that stand out, I'm instantly attracted to those 2 that stand out.
There's generally a couple that are going to stand out, or out of that.
Yeah, but Spartan, you don't even give them a second chance.
I do. I give a lot.
Same. I give them a third chance most of the time.
I run them side by side. These Durgan Margies I'm running side by side, but I already picked the winner based on the way the effects and everything were, and also because it's just way too difficult to manage 50 different varietals.
I think that's probably the bigger issues, that we chose too many seeds to start at once instead of running our regulars and like just doing one new strain at a time or 2. Like now we have like so many different strains. It's hard. I can't keep track because I'm not even barely smoking. So it's hard.
But we're letting everybody else do our R&D right now. So the market's telling us what to kick. So if we got 10 jars on our table, the jars that are full when we go home are the ones that we're not really keeping unless we really like them. Recently, the ones that have been going home full are the ones that we have been keeping because they're like Rainbow Driver and Grape. They're our staples. So, but it's our new stuff that's going because it's new. You know,
Yeah. Well,
it's the
I think that's-
80-20. 80% of our clients are regulars. Where 20% might be somebody popping in new for the first time or something like that. And we had the same 8 strains for, I don't know, I haven't done a pheno hunt since like 2019. So for a very long time. So I was itching to get some new things going on. And yeah, I've been sitting on a lot of seeds, and I was getting to the point where, like, if these go for another year, the viability on them is going to go to the crap, and it's just going to not be value in what I purchased, and we'll now have a negative on the books. And so
How do you, as a caregiver, feel about sending those cuts to like tissue culture though, to try to clean up, refresh, save, store, or anything like that? Is it cost prohibitive?
I found that I've been able to. I've never done tissue culture, so I don't know how much better they could be, and I'm sure I'd be mind blown. But I've found that I've been able to revamp and refresh genetics through their. Like, I've had stuff that was just like, this isn't doing good. Put it on the back burner for a while, or really keep it clean. Take some really nice clones, keep those clones clean. Take some really nice clones off those clones, and just keep that mother rejuvenated and freshed up. Eventually you get some really good yields back out of it.
Has anybody done tissue culture? Like, do they give you your culture and you can keep it at home, or do they keep it?
No, they have to store it.
Yeah, they have to store
you
it for
could-
you, and because
Do
of that
it by
refrigerator
lot.
situation. So, I mean, if you buy that refrigerator, you can keep it at home by all means, but it's pretty expensive. I did it at Freedom Green, and it's super, handy to know how to do, and anybody can do it. I mean, anybody can, but I would say you definitely would have to probably invest in one of those refrigerators to keep it, because it's kind of like a stasis kind of thing, is the way I
Yeah.
kind of look at it.
If margins weren't like paper thin,
razor
like,
thin, yeah.
it'd be in the budget,
The equipment that you use, Tara, financially, how much? I mean, the fridge itself obviously would be, but you could get the stuff over the counter,
Hundreds,
order it.
just hundreds of dollars. It's not.
Yeah. If you've got the money to buy it, yeah, by all means. But I personally don't have the money to invest in that right now to be what it would need, what it should be.
Time, space, doing it right.
Yeah, to do it right.
yeah.
And
I was just wondering
ongoing
because you said
expenses over
anybody could do it. You made it
I
seem
It's
think
like
possible.
I
It's
think
definitely
anybody
possible.
Simple
can
thing to
do it.
pick
You
up.
just need to be able to invest in the money, space, time, and
Have the room
I mean, it's such a clean. You have to keep such a
Doing it
sterile
right.
area.
Yeah, doing it right is the key. And
Yeah, but you can do it. You can do
Mhm.
it. I mean, I see all these new I think Athena might be the one that's got you can buy the kit kind of thing. I think I might have saw it on Brandon Rust page recently that he bought one of the kits from Athena that you can basically do it all yourself.
Did they drop that at MJ BizCon last year? I think.
I'm
Right.
not sure. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely handy. But
Someone
being
did.
sterile is very, very important. I mean, that's key to the whole operation. So,
and it'd be like a library of genetics to have right there. You could have
I
like
mean, don't get me wrong. I think it would be
That's-
badass. I mean, just think if we'd have a refrigerator that we could just go every 3 months, be like, oh, I'm going to take you out.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
take you out. I'm going to,
here's-
rejuvenate you for the next few months and then put you back out into the flower here 6
So
months from now.
my question is, if you're never going over like getting anywhere close to 8 inches on a plant, because I don't think you would need to for that stage of storage, right? When it comes to tissue culture, could you do this without having a license, at least here in Michigan? Would you be able to run a tissue culture storage facility?
I don't know.
My
I know you're in
question is-
Ohio, but I'm wondering if we could do this in Michigan.
My question is, how
Be
do
a
you
good
tell the
business
difference
if we can
between
figure
a
it out.
marijuana plant and a hemp plant? How do you tell the difference between a cannabis
You
clone?
got to flower it, right?
You got to test the
I mean,
product.
I know when I did it, those little things were like that
Yeah.
big when I put them in
I
the
mean,
gel or that. So it's like you just
in
need
theory-
a
sorry.
half inch.
In theory, the tissue culture lab could be. I mean, even it doesn't matter the size, right? As long as it's not flowering. 8-inch rule is a CR is a metric rule, is a licensee rule.
It's a caregiver rule too. I think it might say have to have
Plant
root
count.
zone. One is
Did they add the 8-inch rule to the caregiver
I
side?
think they did a long time ago, yeah.
That's a big thing if they did.
But they also we don't
anything
have
under.
felonies
Well,
for
I'll tell you
plant
what, every
counts at
plant
all
that I
anymore, you
have,
know?
every plant that I have is hemp unless it's in flower and you can test it for THC.
Right, 100%.
You'd be surprised.
So-
how you can still get THC even in veg.
Oh yeah, but how much? Not 30%,
Well,
not 20.
The plants with trichomes for sure. I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've had plants with trichomes in veg, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Usually on the stem.
some will get Brax on. But then again, are they going to get THC or are they going to get THCA?
THCA.
Yeah. So that's
That's a-
legal right now.
That's hemp plant.
That's a hemp plant.
It's all hemp
You have
until
to
you hit
extract
12,
officially what is considered THC is like dicarboxylated extracts. You know what I mean? Or really, really old weed. Maybe not really, really old. I don't know where it's going to start to.
Yeah, I might
decarb,
just get to CBN.
but yeah,
Well,
that's-
decarb to THC, just regular THC as well.
it'll
Right.
decarb to THC. I'm not sure what the time frame is on
Give
that.
enough time.
But while it's alive, a living plant, I mean, we're finally in the framework of like poppies, right? I've been saying like this for many, many years up until all of this, that like poppies, the alkaloid is, I think I just said it last week, but anyway, the alkaloids are scheduled in different schedulings. Well, the alkaloid specific opioids, the codeine and the morphine, those are like scheduled 2 or 3. They might be scheduled 3. Other alkaloids are scheduled 2. And then if you combine the alkaloids and chemically process it, it becomes heroin, and then it's schedule 1. So the poppy is not even schedule 1 until you process it and make heroin. But you're allowed to grow poppies and you're allowed to harvest the seeds. And you're allowed to use the plant in culinary purposes, and you're just not allowed to collect the sap and the resins. You know, I'm pretty sure making tea is somewhat regulated of some sort, something like that. I'm sure making tea is like a Schedule 2 thing or something, but like, the cannabis plant forever, just growing the plant alone, unlike poppies, would put people in prison. So it's finally at least the plant is deemed not.
Yeah, that's just possession. You can get possession, manufacturing actually, for growing the plant. They like to throw all kinds of things,
Yeah. So I guess again, it's probably going to depend on how bad your state is with their hemp laws and stuff like that. But I would imagine that as far as federal goes, you should hopefully be able to account on the 2018 Farm Bill. But I'm not a lawyer, so don't take any of my words as legal advice, please. I just support the use of cannabis. Condone.
Jay
I
really
think
like,
we all do. We all support that.
yeah.
At least all of these guys right here.
I do.
I have a poppy at my house, my old house in Cincinnati, and it's one of my most prized flowers in my whole garden. I love that thing.
There's garden clubs based around poppies, like like there's garden magazines based around poppies. Like it's a huge thing.
Yeah,
And there are varietals that are benign that don't have the alkaloid contents that others do, but the basic ass bread poppy is a soniferum poppy, and that soniferum poppy just so happens to have those opioid alkaloids in them. So I I don't know.
I'm a
It's
huge
funny when I
Wicked
first
fan.
got it, it was a little tiny little baby, like shorty, like very short the first couple years I had it. And over the few years, I mean, I've had it probably now for about 10 years, maybe 12. It's like super tall.
Oh yeah.
So it started off really stunted, and I wasn't sure that it would ever make it. But now it's like almost like 18, 24 inches long.
Yeah, poppies are.
I
wild.
like. I'm a huge Wicked fan, and the movie just came out.
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
the theaters, and Poppy plays a significant,
Mhm.
well, not a significant, but a pretty clear role in it. And I think that's pretty cool to see. That they did a magical aspect with it. And basically, we'll put people to sleep, which is nice.
Exactly what it does.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz, man. Dorothy runs through the poppy fields and falls asleep.
Mhm.
Totally.
The
Such a-
books
a
are
setback.
so different than the movie, though. It kind of blew my mind because I really didn't discover the actual books until like probably 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And it's so different than the whole Dorothy, the whole story we know. And it's such a good, gosh, it is such a good book. I so agree with you, Emily. It is like phenomenally great.
I think the cool part is seeing them translate, like the original trio, and how seeing them come into
Yep.
play, and it's fucking iconic. I love
Yeah,
it.
it really is, but it's 100% like 360 different. I mean,
You mean the
it's just
original
not even the
trio?
same.
Well, they
Was in the
when
Lion,
they-
the Tin Man, and
yeah,
Scarecrow?
yeah. You'll see pieces of them show up.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah, because
I haven't read the book actually.
You
for
haven't?
it. I haven't. No, I own it. Well, I thought I owned it, and I had it for years. And that's like the biggest problem is like I'll own a book for years and I won't touch it. I'll just like, oh, I love it right
Phenomenal.
there.
It is so great. It's like a series, actually. I believe there's like
There is, yeah. But now this moon is split into
3
4
books
parts.
maybe
Though.
with it.
So Wicked itself, like that,
Yeah.
the main book though, this movie is going to be splitting that book into 4 parts. And I have no they have to fill it with all this other stuff, which
Right,
is
right,
one of the
right.
biggest reasons why that is not,
Well, if you get a
playing
chance to get to the book, I really recommend it. And I did it on audiobook
Oh, you did?
because
Okay.
it's acted out, so it enhances it. So I
Wait,
loved
like,
it even
do
more.
they use different people, like men,
Yeah.
voice men?
Well,
Oh
they
no,
just
I don't want to
I
listen to
think they
that.
just I
No.
think they distort their voices. I don't know if it's other people. I just think they distort their voices.
Okay. I'm fine with one person, making their voice a little
I'm
gruff
not
or a
sure
little
on that one.
dainty, but
You'd have to look that up. I'm not sure.
that's that's tough for me when it's other people. But
A lot of those people, though, they are
Maybe
able
just
to
listen to the
disguise their
movie's audio.
voices.
what?
then it's just like the audio from a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw that the movie was coming out and I was like super excited to see it. And I was like, oh, let me go see if I can find my book. So I haven't been able to find it. But that one, it is on my list. So once I do get it or find mine or whatever, I'll be messaging you throughout. I know it. I can't
Please
wait.
do. It's so good. I got so wrapped up into it actually for a while. I mean, it was that good. It was a really good. Yeah. So it's exciting I haven't seen the movie yet. I had plans to see it a few weeks ago with my daughter and my sister-in-law, and things didn't work out for us all to get together. And we've all decided that we don't want to see it until we can all see it together.
I love that.
So
Maybe you guys
hopefully
get together
soon.
for a holiday.
Yeah, hopefully here soon.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a movie. It's over the top, but if you like musicals and
Oh
theater
yeah,
and
I love
stuff,
musicals.
it's
so.
just, oh my God. I want to play it back to back.
Yeah, I've definitely been listening to the music from it.
I was going through my record collection when we were doing this floor because I had to move some stuff around, and took the opportunity to finally like organize my records. It's kind of stupidly out of everything's just I have duplicates, and I have like stacks of records from multiple family members, so like are all just like mixed and intertwined. flipping through and looking for certain records. I'm like, it's impossible. There's so many, and there's like they're very faded, so you can't just read the spines of them and see what they are. A lot of them I know what they look like, but like a lot of them I'm not familiar with. And I have a lot of soundtrack records. I have a lot of like musical soundtrack records. Specifically soundtracks. My favorite soundtrack that I have is the Fantasia soundtrack.
Okay.
I love that one. The original Walt Disney had a 4-disc, maybe a 6-disc folded record, and it's not labeled 1 and then you flip it 2. It's actually designed for for 2 turntables. It's a theatrical version, so you can play it for the movie screen. And it is side 1 and on another disc side 2, so you can seamlessly fade into the second disc. Where other 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 disc record, 5 would even number 6 disc record, you'd have to like flip the disc to get side 2, which is really nice for them to put that kind of thought into it, because there's some records like The Wall, for example, I believe is a dual disc where you have to flip the disc, and then the songs are actually seamless when you listen to the record as a whole, or the album as a whole. Like if you were to like listen to it digitally, it all works. But with a lot of records, you got to flip them, and they're supposed to be played as almost like an orchestrated piece. But yeah, so that one does. I randomly have like Clockwork Orange. That one is one that I like picked up. There's the Phantom of the Opera is actually one that
Classic.
I really like as a soundtrack. Like, yeah, it's actually the play. So I grew up listening. It's probably more of just embedded into my like trauma more than anything, because my parents would fucking play that thing on Saturday mornings, like yelling over it to each other from across the house, and like vacuums running, and just pure chaos. You know what I mean? Like you're a little kid trying to sleep in, and it's like 7 a.m. Dogs are barking. Fucking, it's the middle of summer, so sun's just out. You know what I mean? You're just like, what do I do with the bed, man? And it's just like Phantom of the Opera blasting, and they must have did it to wake me up. I don't know why they just blast the Phantom of the Opera, but that
Where's Daddy Red at?
I remember the sensory overload, because it was Phantom of the Opera in the ears, in the smell of Pine Sol floor and carpet cleaner in the nose, because that's what was going on Saturday mornings, dude. Cleaning the floors and the carpets, man. I'm just like, it smells like Pine Sol and it sounds like an opera.
We used a lot of Pledge in my house. Not speaking of Pine
dude.
Sol.
Yeah, we didn't use Pine Sol, but the music in my house was the Dire Straits, because my stepdad, that's all, he was a Dire Straits fan, and he would blast that.
Or was it like Romeo and Juliet? I actually really like their Romeo and Juliet song.
No, it was the money for nothing. I don't know if that's really the name of it, but the money for nothing, and you chicks for free. That one song.
Chicks for free.
Shout out to my dad. It's been 5 years since he passed away today, and you know what? That's one thing that when I hear that's my dad. Yep.
That's great, dude.
So,
waking up to that, I would much rather wake up to that every morning than the Phantom of the Opera is here.
Yeah, we didn't have musicals in our house at all.
That's hard to ignore. Yeah.
And then and then you hear the Phantom. Oh, no, no. Whoa, and then you hear.
We're learning so much tonight.
Exactly.
If you're wondering why I started smoking weed at a early age,
we understand.
just to escape the Phantom, of course.
Phantom of the Opera. It was more a horror story for Red, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a love story. Not a love story. I have Fiddler on the Roof record. That's one.
That's good.
I have like so
With
many
Danny
Barbra
Boy,
Streisand records. It's ridiculous. I have a stack of, and then get into the old stuff. Like I didn't even know that like Johnny Mathis had so many records. I had no idea that it was Rick Nelson had so many records. Like, good Lord, I didn't know that that a 40-year-old could even pull off a Varsity Letter sweater. I mean, amazing that like somebody who was hot in the 40s was playing the same songs in the 70s wearing the same clothes. It's like, and my
Back then,
aunt
it
had
was a
like the
different
same
era. It
like
worked.
records from the 40s into the 70s of the same person. It's like they're playing the same songs and putting out the same records,
I mean,
just-
isn't that going on today? That's only 30 years.
yeah, dude, it's the same kind of stuff, man. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Except like the clothes that they were wearing in like the 80s
A
and
little
the
bit
90s.
different.
A little bit different. They're like,
Lots of leather and
yeah, a little less than like still looking like you're in high school. Well, I guess sometimes you can still look like you're in high school.
yeah, it just depends on the era, the decade, whatever, you know.
It's yeah, dude, the music scene keeps you young. Let's just say that. Look at little Bob Weir out there, dude. Well, fuck, I haven't shouted out the Grateful Dead in a while. They were on they did the Kennedy Center. They got honored at the Kennedy Center, so their big night is on like the 22nd. I think it's must be next Sunday night. They're going to be honored on CBS or NBC. It might be NBC. They're going to be honored at the Kennedy Center. They were up there with shit. They got to like do a concert in front of the president and all kinds of shit. It's like a big thing for bands. So shout out to them. Phil Lesh was supposed to be with them. Phil Lesh departed us just a couple weeks ago. And Phil Lesh was unfortunately not able to be there. And they were talking about doing stuff for their 60th anniversary and stuff. I mean, it's wild, dude. Bob Weir's late 70s. Phil was in his 80s. Bob's the young one. So Mickey and Bill, the drummers, they're in their 80s. These guys are still jamming.
What song do you think they played for the president?
You know, I didn't hear it, man. They're gonna have it live. I don't know. My guess would be, if I had to guess, they probably played something like "Truckin'" or "Friend of the Devil."
Friend of the Devil would be awesome.
If it was anything, they should have played "Friend of the Devil." I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I could think of ones that they should have played. They probably should have played "Dark Star." Because Dark Star is crashing. I guess it's the no, it's only 10.
Don't stop playing.
27.
Go up there and just don't
they're in
stop.
that late
Keep
session.
jamming. That's what they need to do, and just put them to sleep.
Yeah, dude.
Don't stop until they kick you out.
They announced another spring Sphere run. They're just
Dude, that's one thing. When we went out there, I saw coming out of the convention center every night, sitting in traffic, I'd be staring right at that big sphere that's at the end of the road there, and just watching that whole thing change from the outside. I can't imagine how cool it is on the inside.
Is all of Vegas LED now?
No,
No.
there's still some of the old stuff that hasn't been tore down yet. That's still running, some of the old casinos, but there's a lot of new stuff and there's a lot of construction. That's for damn sure.
Did you go in the covered area down Fremont Street?
I walked down that one. It doesn't take very long to walk down through there.
Is that all updated in like LED and like crazy now?
I loved
imagine
Fremont
that'd be like-
Street.
It's
That
pretty.
was my favorite.
That's LED, but it was just throwing like geometric patterns and stuff up there when I walked through. But I know there's like a show where that does like more 3D kind of stuff, which I didn't experience at
I wonder if they'll
Fremont
turn
Street
that into,
Experience,
like-
whatever it's called.
'cause-
Yeah, I didn't do that, but I did walk down that and see it kind of running.
Vegas
Is
to
the
me
Sphere
is like
literally
one
a
of those
screen?
things that's like one and done. You go one time, you don't need to go back again.
Yeah, Vegas to
seen
me
Sphere?
is crazy. It's just like everything's so like over the top expensive, but it's really cool to see a lot of. It doesn't have to be like you can walk around and see some pretty cool shit, and that's
Oh
free.
yeah. We went to Hoover Dam while we were out there. So we actually like rented a car and got out of town.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. But being in town, that was an experience too. So
Driving in town. Oh my god, the traffic and getting around is like.
yeah, it was definitely trying.
But fucking, there's like we found what was that little park thing that had that wire statue that they took like wrought iron and just used wire and they made this huge statue of like this woman doing a yoga pose. I think it was.
Yeah, it was called Bliss Dance.
Bliss dance.
That's
It was
cool.
sweet. Like her hair looked like it looked real because it was like strands of metal. It was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Was it like a casino art piece or like a city art piece in a
No,
park?
that was like an actual structural piece. Yep.
Oh,
there it is.
wow. Look at that. That's cool.
And it had large letters in front of it that said park.
Yeah, that one right there.
Very cool. Oh, yeah. Cool. It is wire. You can
yeah,
see
that's
through
it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It lights up at night, different LEDs and stuff inside it.
Yeah, that's conducive for Vegas.
Yeah, but I was just right in the, like walking down the strip basically, and you can see stuff like that, or you can see the big giant Eiffel Tower and the replica of the Statue of Liberty, and there was
That stuff was being built when I went there. I was
really?
14 years old. They were building New York, New York. Yeah, it was like
That was
the
cool.
Statue of Liberty was like half built. You know what I mean? It was. They had one of the hotels had I think they had a roller coaster or something like that.
That thing was running. That roller coaster was going too.
One of the hotels had a roller coaster. Is there another hotel with a roller coaster besides New York?
Like
New
a
York?
circus hotel or
That's
something.
what it was. Circus had a roller coaster.
Did they still have the zip line?
Yeah, the zip line going down Fremont
I
Street.
did that.
saw
That was fun.
Yeah,
That was super fun.
Yeah,
I went on the Stratosphere roller coaster. It was a trip.
Yeah.
That was wild. Like the Space Needle. They had a needle on top of that fucking thing. I was 14 years old. I was into it, dude. I was like, let's fucking go. You don't even feel yourself going up because you're so high up off the ground already.
That's
You don't
scary.
even feel it.
I have
It's
a
coming
terrible
back
fear
down.
of flight heights right now.
It's when you're fucking falling on that thing because you're only coming down like 400 feet, but you're 1,000 feet in the air. So you have no idea where 400 feet ends. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh my God, this is the craziest free fall.
No, thank
You
you.
get shot up and you're like, oh, that's it. Because you can't even tell the elevation difference. And then all of a sudden you're falling. You're like, oh, fuck. Because you can't see the building below you. You just see your like feet, you know? Space. At least I don't even know if I think that the roller coaster itself wasn't even working when we went. There was always being shut down, my mom said. My mom's one of those people who goes to Vegas and she gets free rooms and free
That's
like
my sister-in-law.
food and stuff like that all the time. So she goes to Vegas like
Often.
Like, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the hotel
We
we
get
had.
picked up at the
She goes
airport in a
often.
limo with my sister-in-law. So,
She uses her comps, let's just say that. And
Oh yeah.
but she also has you know, worked for the airlines and stuff, so she's able to
Fly probably for
she flies for real cheap and so she's very, very fortunate.
the hotels treat you so good there, man. At least the one we had. I have no complaints. It was pretty fucking awesome.
Never been there since being an adult. I was 14 years old. It's a great place when you're 14 years old, that's for sure. Except you can't drink and you can't gamble. But if you have eyes, it's a great place for 14-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I walked past the casino, just like through a hotel, just past the floor of a casino. I was like a kid with my mouth open, my eyes wide. I'm like,
Oh, ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make it flashy, man. It's like a moth on a lantern.
Oh yeah, we were looking for. There's a Lady Gaga like museum thing, and it's closed every time we fucking went through there. But that you could still go around it and see all the stuff inside, which was pretty fucking dope. Like to be able to see like some of the fucking just the shoes that she fucking can. I'm like, how do you even walk in that shit? Like one of them was the heel was like look like a steak knife.
Oh,
So literally the heel was the point of a blade. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how'd you even walk on that?
That's when she wore that meat dress, I think,
Yeah.
is when she wore those shoes. Yeah.
Yep.
they had the lobster mask. It was
Yep.
it's for dancing on tables and cutting steaks for people.
That's what it's for. Okay.
Cut your steak for
Yeah.
you. Slice. That's crazy.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't think I could pull them off.
Yeah, boy, dude.
Oh,
The,
I would die trying.
Yeah.
I know that the I know the hotel with the fountains. That shut down recently. The
MGM,
No, the
The
one
Venetian.
with the
Venetian.
the Venetian with the fountains. That one just recently closed. What about the one with
Lodge.
all the pirates? I think it's Mandolin Bay. They'd have a pirate show. They'd have a
I don't know. I didn't see that one.
theatrical show happen on the hour every hour. That was a really maybe it was like every half hour. They'd have this huge pirate thing. They'd have this
I
pirate
don't
ship,
remember that one, but I remember the Venetian.
and they'd have a big sword fight, and they'd have big explosions on the pirate ship, and people jumping off the pirate ship doing backflips and stuff like that. It was wild.
It's
I don't remember
closed,
any
but
closed.
it's the Treasure Island Pirate.
Treasure
Ship.
Island, that's
I
all
was just
done
gonna
too.
say Treasure Island,
Closed
yeah.
in 2013,
Oh wow, okay.
but it was there for 20 years.
It still is there.
They just don't
The
do the
hotel?
shows.
I guess I'll have to keep reading.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we drove past a giant building that looked like a cool shape, and it said Treasure Island.
like when I was there, it was a great place just for walking around.
Yeah, I don't know if it was open or not, but I
You
know we
get
definitely drove past
free
the building.
free entertainment everywhere. It was wild.
You could sit there and just people watch, man. It's
Oh
just-
man, I can't imagine today. Holy cow!
I like how they had they like the escalators that would take you up and over the road to cross the road instead of trying to cross the actual strip. I thought that was really cool where they had a couple of spots like that. I'm like, that's nice and handy. I feel way
Like a
safer.
moving sidewalk. Like
Yep.
a moving sidewalk.
Just
escalator?
escalators to get you up high, and then you go a bridge,
Bridge walk.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
walk.
and then escalators on the way down again.
Oh,
But
that's
it was so
nice.
cool. It felt way safer, than
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know how many lanes of traffic, but there's multiple, like at least probably 6 or 8.
You know what? I had this conversation yesterday and also 2 days ago. Recently, driving back around Metro Detroit and the evening time with, snowy, rainy, whatever conditions on the pavement, and so many lights coming from so many different directions, be it cars, trucks, whatever, in 8 lanes of traffic going 6 different ways, or, giant LED bright lights coming from signs,
Yeah, so annoying.
whether it's industrial buildings or retail outlets or gas stations or whatever, I'm like, I grew up in the area, but I can't imagine today trying to walk anywhere in that space, especially at nighttime, without just getting struck by a car immediately.
Yeah.
And I was telling Amy from High Spy, who was our guest on Variables, I'm like, I get it, because like there's this group on Reddit that's like so anti-car or whatever. I think it's like "fuck cars" is their subreddit or whatever. And I'm like, it's like,
That's the
okay,
point. I
obviously we
appreciate it.
need cars, like we need transportation, especially here in America. But then like you get to those like really populous areas, it's just like good fucking luck getting anywhere in anything but a car. Like those scooters and shit that they have in some
That's
cities. Can you
insane.
imagine those around Macomb or Oakland or even Wayne
my
County, like, or Washtenaw for that matter? Like,
in the wintertime with a little bit of snow on the road.
especially, yeah.
That's Ann Arbor, dude. They're fading streets
so
out of
wild.
Ann Arbor faster than gas stations, dude. Like they're phasing out gas stations, putting in apartment buildings. They're phasing out streets and putting in bike lanes and sidewalks, like big time.
I think
Wow.
they're gonna try to be one of the first smart cities in Michigan. If I,
I
had
would
to take a guess,
I'd see
because
that.
they're small enough that they can do it and legislate it and regulate it.
They will.
Whereas like someone like Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids are too like big and spread out.
They'll end up legislating. You'll have to probably park in a garage to get anywhere in the downtown area. You have to park
Well,
in a
they're
garage.
they're already doing that with no new construction, allowing the natural gas pipelines. That's already, I think, taking effect. Maybe this coming year, this past year, or something like that. In Ann Arbor, they're like phasing out the construction of natural gas pipes, which to me is insane. But good luck on your smart city, I guess.
It's gonna have to be all electric, man. With their
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
panels and
And listen, I'm all for solar. I think that's probably the best source of energy we could possibly get. I don't know that we're to the efficiency point, just like we weren't with LEDs a decade ago. But I'm using LEDs now, so hopefully we get there with solar at some point.
It's a byproduct, though. Why isn't? I just don't understand why it's not. I don't know. I don't know.
Natural gas, you mean?
Yeah, it's constantly being generated through.
A lot of times they burn the shit off.
It's
So
exhaust
solar, I
of
guess.
biological waste.
Literally, when you see these gas pumps in the middle of a field, especially around here in Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
you see those gas pumps and you see a fire going. That's them burning off the natural gas because they don't want to pipe it and move it anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like what's
Literally, like to say don't use it. It's like we're using a waste stream.
the bottom of every single landfill has a incinerator burning the methane that's being produced by it.
Yeah.
We could be powering generators and all kinds of shit with that methane.
Yeah, it's just capturing and or converting. It's hard to do that at a small scale and then distribute it. It's we just don't have the infrastructure for that. We're too spread out. We're too big of a country, and
there's a lot of landfills though.
Yeah, there are.
They're everywhere, especially in Michigan.
Yeah,
they're all over here.
We
man.
import a lot of garbage.
There's a lot of landfills here in Michigan, dude. We live by like 3 of them. We're like,
yeah, I know. I can think of several.
Of 3 separate.
Some of them are now ski hills.
Large landfills, and then we're within 20 miles of probably another 4 or 5.
Dude, drive down US 23. 696, 96, 94. You're going to see landfills. It's I-75. You're going to see landfills on every single one of those expressways.
Yeah, it's wild.
With giant pipes coming out, trucks at the top, seagulls everywhere.
I'm seeing a lot of freaking windmills and solar panels too, though.
Go up in the thumb. There's the windmills are everywhere, and the solar panels are coming about.
94 is full of solar panels. Holy shit!
I think solar panels are huge more than, or our windmills are huge more than solar panels. Sorry.
Okay.
And from what I see when I'm traveling around.
When we were driving back, when we were driving out to Vegas, there was a part in, was it in Nevada or was it Utah? But there was
Arizona or Nevada, one of those.
Okay, but there was one part where it was literally probably 5 minutes of driving.
I think it was Nevada.
And it was literally just as far back as you could see, row after row after row of solar panels. And I'm talking like 5 minutes going 75, 80 something, on the highway.
That sounds like you guys, did you go through Kansas?
No, we didn't. No.
We went through Nebraska.
Okay.
Nebraska.
North of that.
We took Kansas west, and the Great Plains is an amazing thing, but you get into like West Kansas and it's solar it's windmills for like 100 miles. Like,
we can discover this. This is Sky Vector. This is what's called an aeronautical chart, and on these aeronautical charts, there's a lot of things listed. One of the things that's listed because of the height of them is windmills. And if you zoom into the thumb area, everywhere where you see it shaded with these little icons like this are windmill farms. So this whole area is all windmill farms.
Show Kansas. I'm curious. Yeah.
Where the hell is Kansas?
In fact, show along I-70 specifically, which would basically run through it runs through Missouri, Kansas. It runs through Kansas City, Missouri, and into Kansas.
I'm just gonna have to type this in. Can you give me like a city or something?
Yeah, just hit Kansas City, Missouri, and then bust west from there.
Bust west. Okay.
Go
that place.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Now, who's benefiting from these windmills and solar plant
consumers' energy?
So actually, since we were in the car and we had like 6 hours of windmills to kill, we decided to hit Google, and I was like, first of all, I'm not seeing any farms. I'm not seeing anybody. We're the only fucking car on the road. We're the people. First off, so we look up the population. It was like in the hundreds of thousands. Like there's 52% of the area of Kansas is owned by the federal is federal land. So 52% of Kansas is federal. So only 48% of it is private. And of that 48% that's private, however much of it is leased out to these windmills, whatever percentage that, I didn't look up the percentage of that, but I did look up
What
who
percent?
owns the percentage. And the person in the company with the largest stock, the company with the largest, with the most number of windmills in there, it's an Italian energy company. So it's actually not even the money that it's generating is going to Italy. It's an Italian company. They're all owned by an Italian company.
So I had
Yeah.
heard
I've
that,
seen
but
the
I had
Moscow
heard that it was going
I
to
don't know
like
if it's mine.
I have
France
so
and
much
Canada.
family in Kansas. I bet you it's all my grandmother and her sister. Damn it.
Well, if it's their land, I hope
Old
they're getting
ladies.
their fair share. That's for sure.
So that's interesting to hear that, you know, that the money, the revenue isn't even coming to the, you know, the U.S.
I'm sure the farmers are getting paid. I'm sure there's revenue coming
Hopefully.
in for the farmers who are leasing the land, unless it's on part of that 52% federal land, in which case, guess who the leaser is? The federal government, and they're getting paid, which is probably more than likely why. I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff that's out there in Kansas, but I know that Great Plains is just a big, long, flat, you know, area. And so I'm sure that it's that agricultural belt for a reason. And I'm sure that it's federally owned for a reason, specifically because of all of that. And, you know, I don't know, man, there's yeah, and so it was like, I can't remember the actor. It was like Ted. What was the dude's name, Becca? It was like Ted, not Ted Kennedy or Ted Cruz. It was like Ted something. He ended up marrying. No, he ended up marrying like a
I was gonna
famous
say Ted Nugent
actress.
too.
He ended up marrying like a famous actress, like I can't think of it. He was a big like philanthropist, investor, dude.
Roosevelt.
Super wealthy Ted something. He had a big share. The federal government, or I'm talking about maybe property owning. I think he was like the second largest owner of property in Kansas next to the federal government. So he owns a large chunk of property in Kansas and probably also leases these windmills out, is my guess. But the major company that's leasing out the windmills is some Italian company. But yeah, man, it's pretty wild. And I think it's a good technology. It does require fuel. I mean, there's a turbine engine on that thing, and it's not a perpetual motion machine. The wind's not propelling that propeller. It's helping the propeller maintain velocity is all that it's doing. There's still a turbine engine in there using avgas. It's using methane. It's using methane gas. So without methane and without natural gas, you don't get windmills. You know what I mean? So windmills are only as good. I mean, so they take a footprint to release a footprint, and I'm sure that there's a carbon negative somewhere on there. But then they're only good for so long, and the blades themselves are actually a composite. They're fiberglass. They might be Kevlar and fiberglass and probably a carbon fiber poly, but most of them are probably just fiberglass. The resins and epoxies and stuff that all is used in the fiberglass, that stuff can't actually be recycled. It could probably be repurposed. A lot of the tubes and things could probably get reworked and repurposed. A lot of the blades could probably get reworked. Honestly, if it's fiberglass, they could be repaired unless they are out of structural sound and they are to the point to where because we have fiberglass airplane wings from the 60s still in the air today. So
they do
I think it was one of the largest windmills in the world in China. Just had 2 of the 3 blades or 2 of the 4 blades break off of that.
Ooh, ouch.
So
and I know that a 1,000-year storm, a 500-year storm, a natural disaster,
tornadoes, hurricanes,
they're not impermeable to natural disaster.
Oh, they melt them, bro. They just fold them like paper. It's crazy. and
Right,
they have like
so-
real tornadoes come through.
I don't know. When we get into the topics of energy and stuff, I really like the idea of like harnessing waste streams in a lot of ways. Like we're like even just like harnessing natural flowing streams, the flows of nature.
Mhm.
Like yeah, wind is one of those, but water is another great one.
Didn't we talk about that? All the consumers' energy given up on the dams all throughout the Manistee and the Ausable and like the.
I don't know if we
two
talked about
water-
them giving up. I didn't know if they gave up on all that. They
Oh
just-
man!
just
Well, okay,
lost
so
dams, huh?
there's like certain leases that are up in the next 5 to 10 years,
Okay.
and
I
basically
know they're
there's
doing it with
3
natural
options.
gas.
The 3 options are to maintain and repair all of the dams. There's like a dozen dams throughout the state, and they all provide hydroponic power or hydroelectric power. And there's about a dozen of them. It's going to take about $1.5 billion to repair them, and they make approximately $300,000 of profit every year. So, of course, Consumers Energy is not going to do this themselves. It's either going to go on to into the pockets of the taxpayers, aka state, aka the taxpayers, or they could repair it themselves, which obviously they're not going to do. They could sell them to private buyers, or they could actually destroy them and let the rivers go back to their natural state, which
That's what they're in talks of doing in downtown Brooklyn, actually, because Brooklyn has an old mill with an old dam that used to be a hydroelectric dam that would power the Jackson Electrical Company, which was in Jackson. And so they use the Raisin River. That's nice. What's that, guys?
you're muted.
It's a chocolate
Ooh.
baked from
Oh,
Spartan.
you
Bacon
sons of
Spartan.
bitches! I want to try some of
Spartan.
that. I know they weren't huge fans, but it's one of those ones, man, that I killed with the laser death.
James Christer has it. I
ago.
think it's Ted Turner. Ted
It's
Turner was the right.
different.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
the
Ted
name.
Turner. Oh my gosh,
James
I
Fisher.
literally was
Ted
gonna
Turner,
say
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was the
Darn
guy.
it, married to Jane
Hey,
Fonda.
Family Guy
Once.
made fun of him. Heavy South Park made fun of him. I was trying to think of the name, but yeah, he was like a huge property owner in Kansas, or a windmill owner or something like that. Yeah. Anyways, that came up. Thank you, James.
All right, screw it. We'll do it.
I don't get much. I
This
don't.
is a
the
10-year-old
chocolate
video.
that we've got, that he's got. I don't get much chocolate terps or anything. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to smell it, and it's hard to put.
There's no chocolate. There's no
finger.
chocolate, I don't think.
Oh, dude, you're making me
not?
want a cup of coffee. Is that coffee?
No, that's a cup.
soil.
I mean, it's a coffee cup with soil in it, but this is 10 years old, and
Oh
it's
yeah, dude, that reminds me of
when
a
I
vending
planted
machine
Chocolate,
coffee.
and I decided that was gonna kill the fan with my look at these sweet spiral CFLs.
Did you intentionally use a hot cocoa cup from a vending machine? It's like Choco Lope sounds like a cocoa. And you're using a cup that I would get hot cocoa from a vending machine with.
Probably just what I had on hand at the time, if I'm honest with you. This is 10 years ago, but
Well,
yeah,
that
you saw the
worked out
CFLs
really nice
plugged
there
into
for
a
the
fucking.
future.
Yeah, it did not work out very nice. Those things died. They all died. I never grew Chocolate up. That
Oh,
was as far
man.
as I got.
It was the same genetics too, because we got ours from DNA as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just watching. It hurts to watch this video. Oof.
So Jay, if you do a 5-month cure, you can get some chocolate, hints of chocolate out of it.
5 months for Gurley. Can you let it go that long?
Absolutely
Is
not.
that not fresh?
Absolutely not. I don't know if that's chocolate you're getting on it. All right, I got a question for you guys. What is one flavor profile that cannabis is missing so far that you would love to smoke out of cannabis, and it's just not there yet? You haven't come across it. It doesn't exist. Whatever it might be. Think of one that you would love to smoke. And I feel like maybe this question sort of got brought up, and I feel like maybe someone said something about nutty, the
I
nutty
got
flavor.
nutty. I got nutty recently in Golden Goat.
Oh,
Golden Goat is very nutty. Well, I got one that's very citrusy too. Like
Really,
citrus
that's
fruit.
interesting. A nutty flavor off a Golden
Nice.
Goat.
Yeah, I really like it. Yeah,
That's
it's hazy,
interesting.
hazy, nutty, hazy. It's definitely sweet and sour, but it's kind of nutty. Dude, I actually got a heavy menthol off of this Blue Steel, and it was kind of fruity, and again, another one that I was going to kick, and I didn't have this. It was more fruity, fresh, and when I smoked it initially, I was like, but then after it cured up, I'm like, ooh. And it's another one that like totally changed over on me after it cured, where I
Got better.
I got menthol. Like it's like smoking a Newport. Maybe not
Oh,
as
no.
strong as a Newport. It's there. It is there, dude. And I'm like, this is like a menthol cigarette. This is kind of, I'm feeling mint in my mouth, like lingering mint in my mouth, and like I feel in my throat. And it's actually very smooth and cooling. And I liked it. And menthol's very medicinal too. It does come from mint. And it actually might be regulated out of cannabis products. If what we talked about last week goes through, you might not be able to put tobacco, or you might not be able to put mint derived menthol or menthol in a bottle in your cannabis pre-rolls, or for those that like the Newport style cannabis pre-rolls, you might have to actually search out a cannabis that has menthol in it. And I'll tell you, Blue Steel, at least the one variety I know, I have 3 others that I have to let cure and figure out how they're going to taste, because I am searching for a nice blueberry one. But I think that one's another key. Dude, I'm having a hard time calling. I'm telling you, I'm having a really hard time calling, because I'm getting different profiles. I'm getting outliers that I really like. I'm getting ones that I like that are within the line. Yeah.
Hey, you know what you should do?
Oh, man.
You should do what Chuck D's Nugs did for me and give me my very own judge's kit of all of his phenotypes.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And I'll let you know. I'll
That's
let you
a good
know. I'll
idea.
give you some notes.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm so excited about this box of weed.
Oh
That's
yeah,
really
that's
cool.
phenomenal.
That's sweet.
So after smoking the Chocolobe again, I think I was like trying to like in my mind get like a chocolate taste, like a sweet chocolate. But I think it's more kind of nutty. Even like it's more like hazelnut. Like the plain, like it's not sweet. It's plain. It's very mild. Like a dark chocolate with no sweetness.
Yeah, so like bitter, because like real like
Yeah.
cocoa, like real 90%, even lower than that, but like 90% cocoa chocolate bar. Oh
Yep.
my god, it's bitter. It's not like super sweet. You know, you got to add a lot of corn syrup or sugar or whatever to it.
It's not bitter, but it's not sweet at all.
It's like it almost tastes medicinal, honestly. When it, like chocolate that thick, that to me is like medicinal.
That for me is what I would get off Gorilla Glue, would be a slight cocoa type of
That spicy coke, like that.
profile.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I think that's what I would expect out of Chocolope.
Do you
Maybe
think
a
it's
little bit
coming
more
out of
mocha, but
you think it's coming out of like the pinene in the Gorilla Glue?
Actually, I don't know.
I know it's a stretch. I know it's a stretch, but I've been getting some like the combination of pinene and terpenoline throw out some really interesting smells.
When I smell GG4, I smell like Guy Cologne.
Oh yeah, interesting. Like a musk, like yeah, it has that. It has a nice woody.
Yep.
Yeah, which is kind of what that chocolate flavor kind of is. It's like a coffee chocolate, like
Yes, that's kind of what I
like
wanted to say was woody.
bark, right? Bark chocolate. Hold
You
on.
know, nutty and chestnut, coffee, nutty. So yeah, the nutty definitely exists, I suppose, but normally found in terpenoline, it says, myrcene, and ocimene. I mean, I don't know. So what's your kind of like review on it, I guess, in terms of the chocolate? Tara, Nutri? What's the feedback on the chocolate?
Sorry, the dog's barking.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's all good.
Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, okay. I see Spartan's nomming on something over there. You got some nuts or something, right? You've tried the chocolate, right?
Yeah, we didn't keep it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It was all right. It wasn't like a stellar hasher. The effect wasn't there really.
Okay.
And it's
Nothing
more
really
like a
stood out
daytime
then.
strain thing, I guess, maybe, but it was just kind of weak.
Yeah, I
It
don't.
wasn't stellar
They
on flavor.
definitely. He didn't. Bake didn't seem happy with the yield and that kind of thing from it, but not the yield, but the return. Um, but I got that and then the OG one, and I don't know.
That one's better.
I like that the Chocolobe is a different high than the OG, so it's two different kind of spectrums in my eye. Not that far spectrum, but not sativa-ish at all, but definitely a difference. I think I'm more drawn to the
It's
the
OG Clem. It's OG Clementine to Honey Bananas.
yeah, I'm definitely more drawn to that one. It definitely. But
That
then
one's better.
I'm like
Because that one's better. That's
stuffed
why you're more drawn.
on Funkified too. Like I sent Troy over there today and I was like, get me some funk. I want some funk. I like that funk. I probably cleaned him out on funk. He probably
We're
doesn't
pretty
have any
close.
left because of me.
Pretty close. Pretty close. There's not a lot left of Funkified. That one's good. It cures up good too.
I
Seems like it
I
just-
really honestly really, really, really enjoyed that. Out of everything you guys did besides the Papa.
Papa Burger.
Love that
Yeah.
fucking Papa burger.
Yeah, really though.
Did you guys repeat what Stangman said in chat yet? Cinnamon terps. That's one I have not gotten on cannabis. either. Have you guys
No.
had cinnamon terps? That's a bar.
I don't think I've ever had cinnamon terps in a
That'd be an
dab
interesting one.
ever. Or flour.
What about Blue Raz? How about some Blue Raz? Let's get some Blue Raz terps.
That was honestly the first one that came to mind, but I don't know if I want that.
No, I don't think I want that. That's too sweet. In
It
my
doesn't exist in
eyes.
nature.
Yeah, it sounds like a sour raz, like a not apple raspberry, like a
I
lemonade.
had a rainbow slushy tonight
Huh.
that I got honeysuckle off of.
Nice.
And it was so yummy.
No, what I was thinking is super bad ice cream, but isn't that
Yeah.
kind of like the Skittles flavor? In my opinion, it's kind of similar to that. Not Skittles Astray, but just actually like taking a handful of Skittles and throwing it back, right, Russ? Is
I
that
don't
kind of similar to the?
No, Skittles is fucking way sweeter than that.
Yeah, Skittles seems
Well,
sour.
yeah,
Skittles is so
it's-
sweet.
Skittles has a
less-
sour.
creamy. That's another one, man. I would like the sours to come back, and I know there's been some effort in that area, but
There you go.
there you go.
We have it in concentrate. We're getting it washed right now. Actually, it's getting ready to be whipped, I think, soon. So we should be getting
Nice.
it soon. Our
Yeah,
sour,
that would be awesome.
all that sour.
At work,
process.
we have a banana fire breath coming out in rosin soon. It should be dropping. Like they just posted pictures of it. I'm super excited to see it because, or I should say, try it because the flower in my eyes was just so delicious. I loved taking care of it. So I'm really excited for this banana fire breath to come out.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I'm
Well,
excited for the fucking Rainbow Monks that we have.
Oh yeah,
Forge and the Dirty Taxi and the fucking.
all the dirty taxi.
burger. We got one Donnie Burger in there, so hopefully that one's beautiful.
I'm gonna fight you guys on that dirty taxi. I'm gonna be at the doorstep being, come on,
so you being there
Come on.
helping harvest.
let me do whatever you need me to do. Can I cook for you?
We
Can I
got-
do this for you? Can I
we
be
got
goblin
the
out?
canopy lighting in there now. We just put
Play pipes.
No.
Oh, sorry, Spartan. My bad.
no, I was just like we just put 2 under canopy in there now. When that launches in February, we're gonna fill out the whole room with under canopy as well. And we just
Oh, nice.
upgraded to all the Voyagers, the Grandmaster LED Voyagers in there. So coming here shortly. I think we're coming up close to week 4. I'm going to try to convince him to switch to the HPS Spectrum, run that
Sweet.
for the next 2-3 weeks, and then finish on a blue Spectrum.
Yeah, that's the way, bro. Finish up that week 6 under those HID, HPS, whatever, and then swing out.
Yeah, like week 7, week 8, switch
Mhm.
back to blue.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe week 9, go even more blue.
That's gonna have to be it for tonight. But Red Setter, do you want to go ahead and plug what's happening this coming weekend before we check out?
Yeah, I just wanted to plug Clay Pipes in the chat real quick because you guys were talking about Dirty Taxi and he's talking about Ferret Terps, and I think they kind of go along. You probably find a ferret in a Dirty Taxi somewhere
Possible.
in the city somewhere. So shout out to that. Ferret's like a skunk, like a dirty skunk, a
Ferret's too
weasel
skunk,
skunk. So yeah. Anyways, and something about Blue Moon Terps where. We just
Blue Moon.
harvested. One of the things we harvested was a Apollo 13 bag seed, which still
love that.
has the moon cheese terps. It still smells like, well, yeah, moon cheese, of course. Baby Dookie and diapers and cheese and bad breath and all.
Paul's gonna love that.
Oh, dude, yeah. Speaking of fucking alcohols and sulfurs, this is heavy on the fucking on the baby poo skunk. Anyways.
Like that.
Third Eye Craft Affair, we won't have it at this one because it's curing, but this one coming up is Saturday, December 21st in Lansing. So hope to see some of you in Lansing for Third Eye Craft Fair. And if you can't make it to the one this month on the 21st, on January 25th, hopefully just a couple of days before we have our baby, we'll be at the next craft fair in January on the 25th. The one after that would be February 22nd and then March 22nd.
And then April 20th.
I might be wrong about February 22nd. I know March 22nd because it's the day after my birthday. And then, yeah, April 20th. So if you guys don't have any 420 plans, 420 at the Fledge for 420 at Third Eye Craft Fair. So recession at Third Eye Craft Fair.
Sounds awesome.
Thank you.
Hell
I'll
yeah.
be there this weekend, the 21st, as well, with Chuck, bringing him along and those flavors we talked about earlier.
And since
So
we're
see you
planning
all there.
that far out, you might as well plan the first weekend in April, which is the Hash Bash. So
See you there, guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sorry,
Everybody.